series of Crusader Kings 3 here on the Lord Master channel. And as you well know, my name is Lord Master, and for the first time in 11 months, Crusader Kings 3 has returned to the Lord Master channel, featuring the brand new Royal Court DLC and update. And now, as you can see, the man in the middle is Count Tuzniq, or Chieftain Tuzniq, of the County or Chiefdom of Avars, as we are of a tribal government, as you can see the tribal throne room in the background. And no, tribals do not have a royal court. And speaking of the royal court, so this adds many new features, such as the royal court itself, its 3D throne room and all that, which of course it's obviously going to be a long time before we get our own royal court, so to speak, as we will be a tribal government. Which, by the way, this will be the very first series that I've ever done where I would be playing as a tribal realm, as we are the Avar culture in the 867 start date, in which I serve my liege, who is my father, Baghatur, in which I'll show you some of the key characters for this early part of the series, as well as some of the cultures of their ethos and traditions, particularly the ones I played as in the past before we get to the Avars. And obviously, pay no mind to this other person. That is my brother, who ain't worth a damn, because he's not gonna play a role to anything as far as line of succession is concerned. And so this will be a long-term series, obviously, because the goals I have set for is going to be pretty long-term. I mean, obviously, the Avars used to be a Khaganate back in the days, so the purpose of this series is to, well, attempt to restore the Avar Khaganate, even if it means creating the Khaganate of Carpathia, because we live in Pannonia and all that. So I would say that this is a series that I wanted to do for a long time, because in the previous series, especially in Crusader Kings 2, the Avars were a common sight whenever time I do an Eastern European playthrough, such as the Bohemians, the Croatians, Bosnians, and so on. And we always viewed the Avars, to me, my first impression on them was a strange looking people. And I can see why. They do not wear European clothing. This is clearly steppe origin, Eurasian origin. So, it's been 3 minutes, so let's get down to some business, as we will be heading to Heves, which is in today's part of Hungary. And that area in Hungary and in Pannonia will be the main setting of this series throughout. So let us go to 867. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is Heves. As we zoom in a bit, we control two counties, Heves itself and Zabolux. But also keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, especially a few Hungarian viewers that are watching this, I know zero. I have zero knowledge of the Hungarian language, because it's a language that is not like the Slavic languages that I'm familiar of, especially the West and South Slavic ones, because that's considered second and third languages to me. While Hungarian does borrow many loanwords of its surrounding neighbors, but they are, well, from a different family of language group. Finno-Uralic, I believe. Uralic in particular. Anyways, so unlike the past series where I tended to live in hills, this one I get to live in the farmlands, which makes it easier for development. And before we introduce you to some of the key characters, the situation of the map of Europe and the world of 867 looks like this, obviously. So, yes, the land of the Avars is under Bulgarian domination, which could spell trouble for any Avars that remain here, meaning that it's likely we could be persecuted for our beliefs and so on, and forced conversions and rebellions and all that. It could be that kind of period, but we will try to avert that. Yes, we will avert that. But let's look at the cultures, which is one of the features that they changed for everybody. But I'm not going to show off every single culture, because knowing this is going to take a lot of time. But only I'm going to show the cultures of the ones that I played with in past series. Such as my very first CK3 series was with the Visigothic, which later became Astur-Leonese, or diverged from. So when we look at these cultures, this is what could have been, so to speak. The Visigothic culture has the bellicose ethos, which makes their prowess up to 2, and a reduction in the cost of recruitment and maintenance for their men at arms, and an increased levy size for all the Visigothic characters and holdings. Equal inheritance, which they can enact the equal gender law, even though that's very, very uncommon as far as that tradition is concerned. There's also hit and run tacticians, where all Visigothic characters, when they lead an army, they will have less losses during the retreat and less friendly fatal casualties. Less of advantage though, because this is the kind of tactics that they run by. And they have an increased damage and screen, and same for their skirmishers, but less effectiveness on their siege weaponry. So they're more into guerrilla warfare. And martial admiration is another, where martial education traits are more valued. The bumbling squire, confident knight, formidable banner, and famous champion, which that stuff doesn't come until the high medieval era, so don't worry about that. But they are more valued. The blade master traits have additional bonuses. The craven and content traits are looked down upon. Knights are slightly more prone to injury during battles, and may challenge rivals to single combat, inflicting stress if you win. And for all the Visigothic characters, they have an injury resistance, prowess +5, so even when they get hurt, they're going to keep on fighting, and have more number of knights a bit, especially if they're chivalrous ones out there. And you know, back when I was a Astur-Leonese, and when we did a spin-off series with Bactria, that we became Afghan. Had that hybrid culture feature was around, we would have hybridized Astur-Leonese and Afghan, and could have possibly diverged from it, and would have possibly called our culture Bactrian, even though we would still be using both the Visigothic derived names, Iberian names, and of course the Afghan names. That's something I would have done had that series existed, had that feature existed in that Bactrian spin-off series of Asturias. And by technicality, the second culture I played as was the Marathi culture when I did the Sona Yadava series. And of course, you may have noticed already that this character is naked because he's a Dingambara Jayan. And if your character is a zealous Dingambara, they are more than likely to go naked if they're zealous. So, anyways, the Marathi culture, the second culture, or third, depending on whose perspective, culture I played as. Their ethos is stoic, which the Marathi have a health resistance, a bit more from diseases. Less stress gain, less friendly fatal casualties, and they have a defender advantage. So they're more of a defensive kind of people. And they're also industrious, which they gain 25 development growth when a building is constructed. But it does increase a bit of stress while reduces the construction time, which interestingly, despite the Stoic, this cancels out the effect of stress. So they're still going to get stressed a little bit, no matter what. But at least it makes them build buildings faster. They are also modest, which the temperate trait is more common. The chaste, content, humble, shy, and temperate traits give bonuses. The ambitious trait is looked down upon, which causes for the Marathi characters to be less gaining for prestige. So I see. They're not into glory, and they're not glory hounded folks, I can tell you that. And they're also pastoralists, which the pastoral lands line of buildings have additional bonuses in counties of this culture, and each of the Marathis have a little more disease resistance. Combine that with Stoics, so that's medium boost, and have a little more prowess. So they're good, hard fighters, and they can keep themselves healthy, like that. And now the last culture I did prior to becoming the Avar for this series, the Bosnian culture, when I last did the series with Bosnia, which I thought, back then I used to say that the Bosnians is one of my favorite minority cultures to play as because of its geography. But the traditions that they have, right before I click on this, kind of took me a little bit by surprise, but it's kind of to be expected. The Bosnian ethos is communal, which the same culture mercenary hire cost is cheaper. So if there's any Bosnian mercenaries, it's cheaper because, they know each other. And close family opinion up a bit. And like the Marathis, they have a faster construction time on buildings. And it also costs less. But what makes them stand out, and it's due to in part of the local Christiani faith, the Bosnian church, is the mendicant mystics. The mystic line of traits have additional bonuses, and they are more common. Wandering mystics may appear at court offering boons or criticisms. The ghosty go in and around, talking to folks and all that, based on what I remembered. Oh, and also I missed this part. The Bosnian culture was formed from Croatian and Serbian in the year 800. They always put the year 800 in the game as approximate because nobody can make an educated guess. Unless you're going to be one of those people that say the Bosnian culture didn't technically appear till around 1150 AD. Yes, if you're going to make more historically accurate mods. But anyways, monastic communities. The temperate trait is more common and more bonuses, just like the Marathis with the modesty, while their monks have additional bonuses because they're mendicant priests in addition to being mystics. And characters of this culture, Bosnian, are more likely to accept taking the vows, especially their underage children. And isolationalist is another tradition of theirs, which is what surprised me the most. Idle courtiers are less likely to become wanderers if they're lieges of the same culture. Marriage acceptance towards other cultures is -50, and very unlikely to arrange marriages outside of their own culture, while the cultural acceptance gain is much reduced. And for the Bosnian characters, they have a less diplomatic range, while they view other fellow Bosnians of the same culture a little more high opinion, so they keep to themselves. And also have a little more control growth because it is their homeland. Had I done that Bosnian playthrough, which was basically the most famous and most successful playthrough I've ever done prior to the newer updates such as Northern Lords and Royal Court, I would have had a slightly harder time being a Bosnian. But I think patience would have paid off at the end anyhow, because that's what I did in that Bosnian series. It was just patience. Patient, and spread your dynasty around, and do a little Balkan intrigue and all that. Yeah, not to mention that I played it in one of the most lowly developed regions in this side of Europe. But however, in Pannonia, the main setting of the series is even lower development. 2 versus Bosnia's 5. No matter where you look at it. and the most developed part is right across the river, right across the Danube, and a little more so in the lands of Great Moravia. Right, anyways, now here is the culture that everybody's here for. It's been 15 minutes. Who are the Avars, and what is their ethos and their traditions? They are bellicose, just like Visigothics, as you know its bonuses. And they are of a Turkic heritage, which is pretty much an educated guess, same as the language that's spoken, which is the Uyghur language. Because the Avars are a people of unknown origin, an alliance of Eurasian nomads of an unknown origin, or various, because they can't find a consensus if they're either Turkic or Mongolic or even Tungusic. I mean, there's so many other theories, but one thing was for certain: the Avars came from the Pontic Caspian steppe, and they fled westward to escape from the Guk Turks, which originated from Mongolia and spread all the way to the edges of the Pontic Caspian steppe. So the Avars went westward, and then they came down to the Balkans a bit, and then settled in Pannonia, driving away the Gepids after the Avars allied with the Lombards, which they go on to become the inhabitants of Italia. And the Avars were best known as being the antagonists of the Avar-Byzantine Wars. They even besieged Constantinople one time in cooperation with the Slavs, which, assumingly, Serbs and others. They were just called Slavs by a different name, but they use a Greek term for calling them that. Avars, South Slavs, and even Persians from the Sassanid Empire even besieged Constantinople one time. But obviously, Byzantium is still around. And in the 769 start date, that was when it was known as the Khanate of Avaria. The Khanate of Avaria, which would have been Avar Khaganate, but it was in a declining stage. But I'll save out a little detail in just a bit, so we're here for traditions anyhow. And their aesthetics, the naming practices are Avar. Their architecture is Eurasian steppe. The fashion is Mongolian. The coat of arms is Turkic, while the military equipment is Mongolian. So therefore, Eurasian steppe. Now the traditions, this is what we're here for. Ruling caste. Different culture, peasant factions and populist factions are less common, but it makes cultural acceptance gain lower. And all the Avar characters have a dread decay of -30, while dread gain per tyranny is 0.3, and sage progress against revolts +25. Rulers of this culture are used to lording over subjects that are not of their own culture. They know how to effectively suppress revolts, though at the cost of public perception. In other words, the Avars are nothing to be messed with. Rebel against them, and you will be put down easily. And not surprisingly, they are also horse lords, which the culture has mastered the horse in its use in warfare, which they can recruit horse archers as men-at-arms. You can gain a decision to recruit open terrain commanders, even though the land of Pannonia varies by plains and forests. We don't live in the steppes anymore. Also, our supply duration lasts a lot longer and negates supply limit penalty in the steppe. And light cavalry damage and screen, if we have any light cavalry. And this is a very good one. Recognition of talent. Kill me if you wish, but if you let me live, I shall serve you loyally. Prisoners are more likely to accept recruitment, gain a positive opinion modifier when recruited, and a recruiter gets a strong hook. Gets better knights from the invite champions decision. Grant parted interaction gives much more positive opinion and a strong hook. So, whenever we take prisoners, pay special attention to their skills. Alright? And finally, culture blending. Members of this culture has often lived alongside people of other cultures. Through exposure, they become adept and incorporating foreign languages, traditions, and customs into their own lives. So it costs much less prestige to hybridize a culture whenever we wish. Rulers of this culture use the learned language scheme more often, and the cultural acceptance gain is plus 25, which negates the effect of the ruling caste. And for all Avar characters, you can have another plus 1 max learned language scheme and more learned language scheme power. In other words, an Avar ruler with a good learning skill can learn 2 languages at the same time. And it's kind of something that I would have to do, knowing that we serve under the Bulgarians. That you better start learning Bulgarian if you want to have an acceptance. Or perhaps learn Croatian or Slovene, which is Slovak, or even Serbian. Whichever is convenient for the land of the Avars. So there you have it for the traditions and ethos of some of the cultures I played as in the past, and including ones for the Avars. Let's see. Where are we? Oh yes, after we've talked about the cultures and all that, and now let's talk about the people involved. As I am, as I am the ruler of Heves, which is farmland, fortunately. Again, this is Count Tuzniq of Heves. His last name is actually Khunzakhal. By this sigil you shall prevail. That is our house motto for the Khunzakhal Dynasty. So the level of splendor is reputable. But the culture head is my father, Duke Baghatur, or High Chief Baghatur. As he is my father, liege, and King Boris's chancellor. So yes, King Boris of Bulgaria is the one. But before we get to the Bulgarians, we shall look at the house of Khunzakhal, which was founded by 630 AD by King Khunzakhal of Pannonia. Otherwise this would be known as Khan Khunzakhal. Because the Kingdom of Pannonia title, which that title was destroyed some 3 decades ago, and it only can be traced as far back as here, but obviously it existed earlier as the Avar Khaganate, which the dynasty, if I'm going to name names, I'm just going to say that we know that there were very few documented Avar rulers in its history. Khunzakhal Dynasty is not one of them in the real life history, but this is just a name that they've come up with. And so we know that the first Avar ruler in history that is documented, that's related to Pannonian Avars, was named Bayan. And I remember when I used to play the When the World Stopped Making Sense overhaul mod from Crusader Kings 2. Like if you were to start at a later start date when the Avar Khaganate appeared, it's ruled by Bayan. And their dynasty's name is Bayanid. So we'd call them Bayanid dynasties. That they were the ones that fought against the Byzantine Empire, even at the siege of Constantinople, as we mentioned earlier, that teamed up with the Slavs and the Persians. And after the Bayanid dynasty is gone, then came Khunzakhal, the founder of House Khunzakhal, which would turn out to be the ruling clan of Avaria. But obviously all the causes of death will be unknown causes, i.e. natural death or other possible deaths that isn't documented. And there was Ispirik, Gal, Karaton, Vinek, Hoapan. It's gonna keep on going. Bulgra, Bezmir, Goleda, Zenti, and Belkamak. So he died at just 2 years before the 769, which is the start date from Crusader Kings 2, unless you have mods, which I'll talk about the mods in a little bit, as we will get this series moving soon. It is this line of Belkamak is what led us to our family. There's Duke Drong of Visegrad, and this is my great-grandfather up, so Drong is my great-great-grandfather. Belkamak is my great-great-great-grandfather. This was up, and this is my grandfather, and then there's my father. But anyways, back to Pannonia. But it was Dengizik is the Avar ruler during the time of the 769 start date. And afterwards came Anak, Oldogan, Labertam, Zog, and then interestingly, the Khunzakhal loses their Khaganate and belong to the Kazbeks, which they no longer exist in this timeline. Safety over fealty. That was another one of the Avar clans, but they are notable for being the Avars that converted to Christianity after they were defeated by Charlemagne. Yes, Charlemagne did come to Pannonia to defeat the Avars, and some of which had converted to Christianity. But interestingly, you do see their birth names below. So Theodorus is his baptized name. He was originally known as Kaj. And there's King Abraham, formerly known as Anzi. And the last one, Isaac. Yes, they named him Isaac. He didn't have an Avar birth name because he was born during the time. And then the Pannonia was finally destroyed, disillusioned, dissolved in 835. And since that period of time, the land of the Avars has been divided between Balaton, the High Chieftain Balaton, and Bulgaria, which they moved northwards, so the Avar culture is dominated by Bulgarians. Even though the Avar culture, the reason why I picked them in the first place, since I have a tendency to pick as minority or lesser known cultures, they are not exactly a minority culture, but it could become it if we're not careful. And it's only my father who serves as the direct vassal. He's the only direct vassal. So yes, the Avars lived in the areas of Hungary, parts of Slovakia, Serbia in the Vojvodina area, and the Transylvanian parts of Romania. That's where they were at that time. Now, as we know, Count Tuzniq, he is chaste, he is ambitious, and he is brave. So he's a military man, as he is a brilliant strategist and an organizer, which, interestingly enough, combine that with the movement speed of +10 and Tuzniq's organizer. That means we can move out in a hurry, which makes it suitable for raids. Like if we see a large enemy army that's coming this way, then we can get out of here just as fast. So we're going to be doing some raids a little bit soon. Now here is my father. He's more of a diplomat kind of man. Although he is more of a family man than a diplomat, so he can make friends, have confidants, can be better. Groomed to rule, heart of the family, which I love my father highly. At Fronting Council. And soon he's going to have sound foundations, and he will be the patriarch, the man of the house. So yeah, that's my father. Although he can be a good commander too, and he's just as good as a fighter as I am, because he is brave, but he's also gregarious and he's Raffles, so don't get on his bad side, because he'll pick up a bit of dread soon because of that trait. Just give me a moment. Soon we'll talk about who's the Bulgarian king and its royal court. That's the last thing I'm going to say before we finally get the series moving. The royal court itself. Now, King Boris of Bulgaria. He's ambitious, just like me. He is callous and he is cynical. Brilliant strategist, overseer, and a forder. But he knows two languages: his native Slavonic language and Greek, which Greek is the court language of Bulgaria. Now, let us go to the royal court. The royal court in the Kingdom of Bulgaria. This is the new thing here. So, it may not look like much, but he does have a few artifacts that he's going to send. He's got the Vassal's Nikifor's skull cup. After his death in the battle near Prislav, Basilis Nikiforos of the Byzantine Empire had his skull lined with gold and used as drinking cup by Prince Krum of Bulgaria. So Greeks don't like him a bit for that, but it does increase the prestige for dread, monthly renown, natural dread, dynasty opinion, and court grandeur bonus. So this does have a bit of history. Mentioned Krum. So this was the skull of Nikiforos. This was his head. And then there's the man who took his head. He was a Bulgar. And it passed down for a few generations all the way up to King Boris, who is the first Christian Bulgarian king, I would have to assume. He's from the House Bulgarsko, as it is insignificant compared to ours, because we've been around longer. And he also has a house banner and a dynasty banner, which once he puts them on his walls, it's to get if you're going to increase the prestige and renown a bit and reduce building construction costs. Same for this one, for the vassal limit and all that. But when I started this playthrough before the recording, I found out that, like, okay, holy artifacts are going to be randomized, they'll be placed somewhere. Somehow they have the sandals of Jesus, an elegant requiem containing a holy relic, the authentic sandals of Jesus Christ. And of course, to us Tengrists, this is useless to us. That is a Christian faith, so that only means a lot to them, not to us. But nevertheless, as the owner of the sandals of Jesus, he's going to get more learning toward devotion, more piety, and higher clergy opinion. And its durability is going to last 150 years if taken good care of. But is it really the sandals of Jesus if that's really been well taken care of for over 800 years after his time on Earth? And so let me show you around the royal court a little bit more before we finally get back to our homeland and get on with our piece of business. So you can highlight the characters of who's who here, and you can go to photo mode where you choose a camera angle and take screenshots of this royal court. And I thought they would have the free camera feature, but there's a mod for that, but I'm not going to be using that free camera mod because I don't have my own royal court yet. That's going to be far, far away in this series. There's this view. There's the overhead. Elevated wide. Here we get a closer look at the throne view itself. And look who it is. It's my father. Well, he is the Chancellor, so as you can see in that animation, he is speaking to Boris directly. Even though we found out that he only understands his own Slavonic language and Greek, the court language, Baghatur only knows the Ugar language. So as you can see, his mouth is moving to him. So he's speaking the Ugar language, and Boris is pretty much like, "Что?" which is pretty much what in South Slavic languages. Because I don't know what the word what is in Bulgarian, but I know what it is in Bosnian, Serbian, and Croatian. I know what that means. Unless you live in a certain part, like the Kaivian dialect with Kai. Anyways, there's this other view. There's the right wall view. But let me go back to this view. His successor is, he's over there. He's the spy master. And this is the man I want in the Bulgarian throne. Prince Vladimir Rasete. He is a Tegrist. The only one in his immediate family. As the rest of them are Orthodox, he's a Tegrist. He may be a homosexual, which, of course, that kind of stuff is, you know, make it out of this throne room. Because as you well know, in the Tegrist faith, if there's any same-sex relations, it is a criminal penalty. Same for adultery, deviancy, kinslaying, and witchcraft. So it's pretty restrictive. Unlike the last pagan faith I played as, which was Slavic paganism, which they're pretty restrictive as well, but they are fundamentalist. Whereas in Tengriism, they're pluralists, similar to the Christiani faith, the last faith that I played as. But now, Tengriism is into esotericism, which children with a learning education focus may gain a wise man trait if they do well in their studies. Makes the following traits: the wise man, mystic, miracle worker, virtues, as virtues. Ancestor worship, which prestige from level of splendor for newborns, plus 100. Same for when getting married. Maximum long reign opinion bonus, plus 50. And characters of this faith get an additional bonus upon a successful completion of a pilgrimage. And it makes a little bit more highly opinionated for fellow Tengrists of their family. And we're also warmongers, which add peace opinion instead of offensive war opinion, which you may want to have to look at that. Characters who have the warmonger trait as part of their faith will have the at peace opinion instead of the offensive opinion penalty. If you are at peace for too long, vassals will think less of you, if they share your faith. And we also have a conquest cash value against the neighbors. Prestigious rulers can use the invasion cash value once per lifetime. If one exists, the head of faith can declare great holy wars, provided his faith is organized, and members of the clergy can serve as commanders or champions. Which means, yes, the shamans can serve an army, and this is recruitment, so members of the clergy can serve as commanders or champions, even though we have no temples. And a marriage within the clergy is allowed, and it can be either. And speaking of the clergy and the council, let's see who's who. Oh, God, you're terrible. Oh, by Tengri, you're terrible. A dwarf. Also arbitrary. Raffle, that explains it. And I got an even worse steward. While the marshal is, he's average. While my spy master is terrible. So it's kind of half and half. Like, take what you can get for this chancellor, but the steward and the spy master, it's got to go. And who is this wise old shaman? Oh, wait a minute, you're not old. You're 16 years old. Of all the shamans that you start a series with, I was expecting an old wise man or wise woman. Instead, you got a high-learned girl who is a shaman. Almost like you would have to view her as an oracle. And don't get her married, and nobody should defile her. Heaven forbid there be adultery, otherwise it's prison for you. So she's diligent, generous, and humble. None of them are virtuous traits, but at least she endorses me. Because you are humble, and you view bravery as a virtue. That's good. But this has got to change. So one of my champions is a very good steward. Are you any good at... Okay, you know what? let's swap it a bit. You will be the spy master, and my champion here will be the steward. And hopefully we can get some extra taxes, because this is a good for him. But I would hate to lose you should we ever end up in combat. But as for Chancellor, well, seriously, a dwarf? You know, he's not going to be looked... you know what, do replace, and this is a courtier. Get a bit more prestige for this. And plus, you'll be my champion no matter what. You're going to be my little champion who's... Oh, well, watch your words. Don't offend a man of his stature, but still. So, interestingly, I got a pretty interesting... You keep using that word. Courtier. And I'm sure we can get some more talented people along the way. And, some of the last duties. And, of course, I have no artifacts with me. No, that will happen down the line. So, as I'm a young man, with a bright future ahead of me, and knowing that the issue, my prowess skill is good, but if I ever get myself in a fight, which is unlikely, I think it would be better to be going for this, because I would hate to lose my life for this. But don't go for household guards, because it's an unnecessary feature when you're tribal because of the tribal buildings you have. But I like to take every advantage I can get and higher attraction opinions, so I will go for chivalry focus. So here's what I'm going to do. First 3 perks will be this, and the rest of it will be strategist. Especially this route, with the raid speed. That's going to be my intention. And now let's get married. Look for somebody with an inheritable trait. And since I'm chaste, I'm not going to have too many children, so I don't think you should be that concerned. Fortunately, there is somebody who is an Avar. Samoa. Okay, excuse me, who are you? She's a homosexual, but she's comely. She's pleasant to look at. She is just, but vengeful. That's a bit contradictory. Just and vengeful. So they call her a vindictive paragon. I mean, I got pretty good skills myself, but a little more of it would be an improvement. I'll take the prestige hit. Even though we make very little income out of this. And my army is very small, as we only have a few champions and 100 horse archers. Whereas my father's army is larger. In fact, it's double the size, in fact. And he's got siege weapons too. He's got all cavalry, light horsemen and archers. Which means one day when he passes away, I get to inherit his whole grand army, so to speak. For me, we're just going to be more of a raiding army. It's just the only handicap is the lack of development here. So, let's finally get on with this series as we will do that. And no, I am not going to assign any court positions because they cost... I mean, yes, it's cheaper under tribal, but, however, we need to increase our source of income by other means. To the thoughtful Tuzniq, I, Samua, gladly accept your hand in marriage. May Yashohan bless our union, my impeccable husband. Really love the way she dresses. Hey, just have a closer look. Elegant, isn't it? I mean, after all, she's comely. Huh? Already the first event. After 2 weeks. Both Count Pavel of Bahar and I are held in esteem by our liege Duke Baghatur. However, when it comes to handing out titles, honor, and wealth, one of us will always be the first among equals. The upcoming gathering at Visegrad Castle gives me a chance to ensure that I'm one with the Duke's favor. Get a hook on my father? I mean, this is my neighbor, Count Pavel, who is not a nice man. But he is intimidated of me. But since I have higher diplomacy than learning, so I'll say, as a smooth talker, this should be easy. I've become friendly with the Duke. Okay. I mean, he loves me. Because he respects me. Oh, yes. And I got the favor hook on him for whatever I need. And I mentioned about him being a Tengrist and him being Orthodox Christian. We need to get rid of him immediately. Oh, yes, we could definitely get rid of him. And he's not too far away from here, and these are the 5 predicted agents. My father, Prince Vladimir Ratsite, Duke Asparuk, another pagan, Count Pitar, which he has his issues with him, because he's a treacherous antagonist, I see. And the Baron of Prislav also doesn't like him for reasons. Too many duchies. Ah, that's the main issue. So we can get rid of him easily, so start the murder scheme with him, as the agents have already joined. And we only brought you here, even though you're not the best at it. And try to support this scheme in any way you can. And for the love of God, don't get a scheme failure on us. Otherwise it'll be your head. I mean, I'm not that vengeful of a person. Who do you think you are? And there's no need for a court physician or any of those court positions, because they cost money, and I need to start raiding soon as another source of income. Though our levy size did increase a little. And since I got a pretty good learning skill, I should also learn the languages as well. In addition of a murder scheme, learn the language of King Boris. Mind if I learn your language? They say 95% chance of success. Because my learning, the shaman, I'm young and eager to learn, and he's not too far away from here. So this will take 16 years unless events occur. And of course, one day I'm going to be, I'm going to be in the Bulgarian court, so it would also be wise that you start learning Greek as well. Well, this here. I mean, he's less far away than I am. Plus, he's a tad bit paranoid. So I'll be learning 2 languages, Bulgarian and Greek, in addition to my own language. And so on and so forth. Learn the language of the enemy. That's the first step. And the reason why I'm starting at slow speed, because sometimes I'm a bit distracted because I'm talking to somebody else on the phone by text. And since I have very little money, that means I can't be hiring champions. Oh yes, another thing. This is another thing I must tell you. The mods that I'm using, which you may have already seen it on the description of the video. The mods that I am using for the Avar series is a few of them that were previously used in the Bosnian series. And those mods that I'm using, the follow mods that I'm using are Community Flavored Pack, Ethnicities and Portraits Expanded, including the Community Flavor Pack and the Ethnicities and Portraits Expanded Compatibility Patch to get them both together. I'm also using More Holdings graphics, which, as you can see, the holding graphic, because of our culture. Prisoners of war, which what that mod is that when you go to war or a raid in this case and you capture prisoners, the prisoners don't go to your dungeon immediately. The prisoners are in your army. So you could just imagine that we put the prisoners in the prisoner wagon, but you could still negotiate with them and all that sort of thing. Yeah, we'll be raiding soon. Don't you worry, people. I could see that the people are a bit unruly. And hopefully it gets a few prisoners too, and so we can ransom them, so we can start making money. Okay, 2 people left. So success chance has been reduced to 88. But the secrecy is still up, so just hope for events to improve it. Oh, come on, Father, what's the matter with you? You know what? Hey. Father, I need you in this plot with me. You are very valuable for this. You're a valuable agent to us. Because you're in the court. You have connections. Oh, and also the other mod I'm also using is Recruit Courtiers, which you may have noticed. The Recruit Male Courtier and Female Courtier. It'll cost you 5 gold and 35 prestige each. And also rename the Tribal Era to... thank you. Rename Tribal Era to Late Antiquity, which you may have noticed that up there. Which I chose that because the name Late Antiquity makes more sense than calling it Tribal Era. And I'm also using the Travel the Distance mod, which you may have noticed of why is it say it's like, oh, is too far away or far away from a certain degree. So the further you go, it lessens the scheme power and as well as the chance of acceptance, whether if it's joining plots or arranging marriages or signing guardians, wards. So we want to make that more challenging, where distance matters. Ah, son of a beeswax. So many people are leaving this game. It's like they're onto something. And finally, the last mod, Viet Events, a Flavor and Immersion Event mod. Which of course it's the one where they added more random events. Without those agents, it's going to take much longer to murder King Boris. So we can get the Tengrist on board. At least it's you two now. And we can't invite any more. So take what you can get. Actually, increase the court intrigue a little bit, so that has a small chance of increasing. Not to mention the distance. You see, that's why I chose this mod, to make it more challenging. That skull cut and serves the crown. That's the reason why. And he's an inhospitable host. This ruler's court is not the most welcoming of places. Oh, I didn't see this feature. I forgot to show it off to you. This is a warlike court, where the court language is Greek, which a warlike court has a knight effectiveness up, and powerful vassal counselor gives out more levies, more men-at-arms counter efficiency. A decent fashion, as you can see there, adds more prestige and grandeur. Maintenance costs as well. They have decent food, which the feast activity reduces more stress, and courtiers, I guess, have more stress losses. And they have middling lodgings, which the guests are likely to stay longer, and the guest accepts to join schemes of the court as an agent is +10. Completed inspiration quality has a chance of improvement, less stress gain. And they have some servants in there, which costs less to recruit guests. Have personal scheme power, hostile scheme resistance, all those factors. Terrified of me, so no reason to sway him. I know there isn't much time, but perhaps there's somebody else. Oh, they're actually rivals. Okay, then. What do you think of your husband? You're zealous, but you're cynical? Oh, yeah, can't sway her. Should be a problem. Dishonorable craven? No, he won't be intimidated. He'll be intimidated. He is terrified. Oh, that's what you should be looking at. So this is where you're from. Yeah, we may be two completely different people. Oh yeah, trying to learn his language. I was trying to sway him. Look for other vassals. They may not have a high opinion towards him. You there. Ah, I see. Well, luck is going to have to play the role for this murder, which will be coming soon. But the more he increases his dread, this is why we got to get rid of him immediately. So my phone now pick up the game speed in a bit. And no, you cannot raid your vassals, your neighbors. Your vassal neighbors, so basically. Although there is a way to increase the speed of learning a language. As you can see, the court tutor. Learn language scheme power to 4 to 20 based on aptitude. Improves education outcomes. And have child study language interaction. But I ain't got no children, so there's no reason for that yet. I have a good learning skill. I already have a good learning skill. Enough. Learning Bulgarian is easy, but Greek, another story. Who else? Okay, let's speed up a little bit while I'm trying to... My study of the Greek language is progressing fantastically. I feel I have all the focused energy in the world. My name is Tuzniq. I like to eat marzipan. Marzipan? If I just focus even harder, I'll speak fluently no time at all. In other words, he'll be saying like, Kirete, name is Tuzniq. But again, we're only saying English for the sake of audience convenience. Scheme executes immediately. Oh no, don't do that. Oh my goodness. Because I'm an ambitious man, I would be getting a lot of stress. As the scheme progress, I will dedicate all my time to this. Just do it. After lots of hard work, nothing. It's possible to learn the Greek language, no matter how hard I try. I speak like a barely weaned baby and write like an unlettered blind serf who's missing most of their fingers. Ah, this is a waste of time. This is what I get for being ambitious. Because the stress gain is through the roof. Oh, you'll be fine, you're temperate. So, try again. I need to go hunting. Because I am brave, so therefore you gotta get that stress down immediately. By the way, how much does it cost to recruit a plain specialist? 15. I'll be hunting over here. In Zaspel. Out in the plains. Yeah, that's where it's gonna be. It's gonna be here. The plains. I am so stressed out for not knowing Greek, I'm gonna go hunting immediately. I need to go out and kill something. Oh. I am riding ahead of the group as the farmland suddenly grows still around me. The silence is almost palpable, and I struggle to hear even the noise of the horses' hooves. Just about to turn back to find the others, I glimpse ahead of me, blurry as in a dream, a white as hard as snow. Although I'm an ambitious and brave man, it's like something from a tale. I must have it. I follow the white hart into the farmlands. Almost unnatural silence hangs heavy over us. The sudden sound of a voice startles me. My lord, there you are. I turn around and see the rest of my party having caught up to me. As I look back, the hart is gone. It might have gotten away this time. I will not know rest until I find it. Even if I have to get stressed out. The hunt is drawing to an end. We mount our horses to leave the farms behind as light fades from the sky. In spite of our difficulties along the way, the hunt went very well. We returned home, reinvigorated. But keep that well in mind. My stress is nearly through the roof. So be careful when you learn such languages next time. I'm going to give Greek a second chance. It's easier to do it with Bulgarian. Well, we can't know that for certain. What's Great Moravia doing? Nothing. My goodness, they got a lot of levies. I think perhaps we should go raid the White Croats first. They have similar numbers, and they got Koni. Oh dear. Heightened soldier morale. Yep, we're gonna have to start raiding. As much as I would like to increase the size of the horse archers, but I think it would be for the best to go get the light footmen when you have more money and prestige for this. Because light footmen are pretty useful. Especially that, again, the land around here is a mixture of plains and forests. So you need light footmen for forest combat. For the defense of our territory. So let's raise all these raiders. And I am its best commander. We should have put the rally point over here. For future reference. Some of them are average to poor fighters, but do what you could do. And remember, if the enemy comes, get out of there quickly. We'll be there in 21 days. And how far is it to get from here to there? It takes about 7 days. Let's go then. Oh, son of a beeswax. The scheme is exposed. And at the same time, I'm reading loudly from the Greek book that Duke Thomas, or Thomas, depending on how you pronounce it, sent me a while back, while notice a whole host of servant signary. Please, don't stop reading the servant skill. He was just about to show his amorous lips. We need to know if the Count and the Sorcerer end up together, or if that Copular gets between them again. Am I reading something lewd? Curses! I'm trying to learn the court language, but... Oh, well, I suppose it is educational in a sense. Might learn something from it. A dignity in death. On an official trip, I am passing one of the villages of my realm. As I leave the borders of the village, I see something odd by a bush, and together with my entourage, go to investigate. To my shock, it's a corpse of a haggard-looking old man in rags. I demand an explanation from the villagers, who says he was a local town beggar who just passed away. Please dispose the corpse, will ya? It's unclean. So, this is how we're gonna do. We raid quickly, and then get out of here. And it takes that many days? God dang it. So they've raised their army. Okay, they disband. You may want to drop that plot right now. And you cannot start another murder against in 10 years. Yeah, this is definitely not happening. It's that damned skull cup of his. Tyranny war? Yep. Just as I feared. He's going to get rid of his rival, once and for all. Now, what does this mean for you? Will you continue to be a loyalist to him? Hey, check again. Again. That skull of his. Nobody has claim to it unless he passes away. You can't really go out and be stealing artifacts. You don't have a royal court. Okay, we got some money. No enemy army yet. But we'll continue raiding. 52 days. Oh hell. He got more. Where are these yahoos? That tells me we gotta get out of here. Hamskray. Oh no, we're caught. Defending in force, this is his territory. We're not going to win this battle here, so just hang on. Retreat now. We're not going to win this here. Took all the damn money. That was just bad luck, that's all. But again, had we stayed here longer, we could have had more severe casualties, but we wounded him. But at least our champions were able to wound this man and took his leg. So, Tardin approaches me stretching. My lord, I heard that you are studying the Slavonic language. My father was a merchant. He could learn any language in no time at all, he says. His secrets are in this manual. I have no use for it, as I cannot read, and part of a reasonable sum. Well, how much? 50? He's just a guest. Doesn't have the makings of a varsity athlete, but yeah, just outright steal it would be wise. Or I could pay less to him. Which, again, we're still gonna have to get income by other means. And I don't want to piss any people off. Plus, he is terrified of me. But you know what? A fine gift. Guards, make him hand it over. Give me that damn thing. Here it is. A collection of notes and scribbles written by Tardin's departed father, a traveling merchant who took the time to understand his customers. It contains many helpful tips and tricks for learning the basics of a new language. The cover of his letter, displaying a repeating image of the Tengri crescent, enunciated by the placement of rock crystal inserts. It is held closed by ornamental clasps. Here we go. My first trinket. A language book. Since you're so curious about learning languages, so this may help you. My wife, Countess Summers with child. I should be overjoyed. She's been acting strange. I cannot shake the feeling that something is wrong. Am I really the father that she claims, or she betrayed our union? Well, thanks to the intrigue through us and her, I'll look into this discreetly. So there's a 90% chance if someone else is the father of the child, I will find the evidence of our unfaithfulness. We shall see. Also, I grew a mustache because I turned 18. When you're 18 years old, your male characters will have facial hair. It seems my fears have been unfounded. Despite every effort on the part of my spies, I've found no indication that Samu has been unfaithful. Unfortunately, she has founded my suspicion and is very disappointing me. Of course, I trusted you all along, dear. What are you talking about? Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of knew that at first sight. I understand. And I think it's got a good 60 years. There's no reason to have an antiquarian just yet. Can't afford it. In the sense of what I would want. Whereas my father is well paid. And he's apparently serving as one of the knights. Is my father. So that means they're going to get rid of our Tengrist friend. And there's nothing we can do about it. Persecution is likely for us Avars. There's going to be forced conversions. There's going to be all sorts of deals. The child was not meant to be. Some more assures me his way of life. Her other hand lingers in the belly. She's no longer pregnant. Oh. So, was that an abortion? Was that supposed to be the indicator here? No, listen, if we want to build buildings here, you need 75 gold to build something. Particularly markets, at first. Levies later. So, new tactic. Just raid this one, get in and out. Raid this area, get in and out. You do not have the means of that capability. I mean, they're being raided by others. This could be our opportunity. Put them here. So they're being raided by others, so they're going to try to catch them. We'll raise our forces again next month. It's just we got caught in bad geography, that's all. That's what happened. But it does show that our men can fight. This has 9 gold. So far so good. Maybe this area was raided before. So let's just put the 9 gold here. This will enter in our treasury, then we'll pick up some more. Don't venture off too far. As tempting as it is. Horse archers are not made for forced warfare. See, popular opinion went away. We're raiding. We're doing something. Let's gamble. $14.70. I'm really thinking about it, because this is the big prize. Oh, he's just a lowly chieftain, but I'm worried about this man. Very, very tempting, because of its high value. Oh, hell. Get out of here. Let's just get out there, just take your winnings. Nope, we're gonna get caught. But our horse archers will fight better on the... Well, we're not fighting better hills, but it's definitely countering one of theirs. So it's... Luck is going to have to play the role here. Oh, God. Not good. So I don't get myself hurt when leading an army. Nope, nope, get out of here. God dang it. What did I tell you? Lost all the money. We lost our good marshal. And it's the dwarf. Ain't that grand. Life's hard, alright? You know what? Do get me a couple of champions. Save the money. Or maybe perhaps you should build gathering halls instead of a market. A forest fighter. Where were you when we needed you? How much? 13. Well, I gotta have you. He'll be one of the good fighters. Keep in mind, everything is cheaper to recruit recruits. Recruit recruits. That kind of wording you just used there. It's far cheaper when you're in tribal government. Well, I fear that that our Tengrist friend is just converted to Orthodoxy, but he's still going to get rid of him. So that means there is no chance for any Tengrist Avar to survive within Bulgaria. Not possible. I mean, look at my father. He's going out raiding, and he's got a much larger army than mine, which one day I will inherit whenever he passes away. Count that cares. It's no secret that I'm working hard on the Greek language. It seems that it's becoming common knowledge among the Greek peasantry. They refer to me as the Count that cares. A flattering thing indeed. Even the lord nobles are lauding my efforts. I feel like the efforts have brought the Avars and Greeks closer together. I can get prestige by other means, so I'll just say this is the most fortunate. I think you should care more about monthly prestige rather than the tax income. Oh, this is my father. Can't feel what they're doing? Thought you could. But nevertheless, he's doing good. And he just got married today. I assume she's a local Avar. Yeah. We need to get Lightfoot in. Start increasing that size a bit. He's gonna get his share of the loot. Mana is his name. Another very good fighter. Here's a logistic. 18, you'll do. We just need good fighters with us, that's all. You can raid that area. Through downcast lashes. As my eyes meet Duchess Putney for what feels like the 20th time tonight, I know I'm not imagining things, even from the other end of the table. Her gaze feels as intense as the midday sun. She wants me, and I'm terrified of her husband, you know, my father, or what do I do? I cannot say. Don't even think about it. No, my heart remains pure. Stop thinking about such things. You're chaste, remember? Can't be doing that. And my half-brother serves as the seneschal of Baghatur. Oh, look, he's got some prisoners. Prisoners of war in the army. He got them. See, that makes me feel jealous of his success. Thinks he's better than me. Well, we like each other, but I'm convinced that, like, what, you think you're better than me? Plus that unraised maintenance is another thing. But you know what, do increase it a little bit more. To where it'll just be a slight drop, but I hope you know what you're doing. Should we go save him? Because he just took many prisoners of war. And they're going to be fighting up in the plains. And this favors them. But he's got horses too. And light foot. And I hope your fighters are as good as some of mine that I've been getting. Yes, I thought you could look at other people's battles. We got him. He's still got the loot. In which he's going to bring it home soon. But soon my time will be coming. As we'll be strengthening ourselves. Because Komarino will be the next place to loot. Tataman. Oh my god, you're a way better fighter. And I'm sure it's going to cost you. 26! And the icing on the cake would be to recruit the plains specialist. But you're going to need some prestige for that. So remember, save up your money. And if you get some big money on your raids, be sure to build a... After lots of hard work, I finally learned the Greek language. Endless hours practicing accentuation, sleepless nights mimicking inflection, countless lessons of mastering annotation was worth it in the end. During my efforts, I'm looking to emulate Duke Thomas's accent. I'm sure we'll be impressed with my results. And of course, the Greek peasants now respect me a great deal more. I only wanted to learn the language just to show that you must know the court language, because one day I'm going to be serving under the Bulgarian royal court, where Greek language is the court. So thank you very much. Yeah. Makes me feel good. Now that I've learned the language. So all you need is money, and of course some prestige. It's good that she's pregnant now. He's raiding all the good places. Which means if I want to raid somewhere, it's going to have to be there and there. And going far down this way would be quite the distance. Almost ready to raid. And only this time, we have better champions. As the days pass by and I hear nothing about the White Hart, I grow restless. Surely someone must have seen it. But what about all the peasants littering the farmlands? Perhaps should appeal to their assistance. Oh, hell. Ah, double hell. I'll send Tataman. He's going to be distracted for the next 10 years. And he's the best fighter out of all of us. And if I had the money, I would make him my personal bodyguard. If I have money, I mean have a steady income. And you can't build buildings without prestige, and you need prestige to it's all these things. Well, meanwhile, I'm still trying to learn Bulgarian. And you could learn one more language if you want to. Which, if I had my druthers, it would be Slovene because of our close proximity with them. And I think it's better to learn Bulgarian because one day they're going to start, you know, getting at us and attack us and whatnot. Oh, father, lost your leg. He's doing poor and he's got an aggravated one. But he's killed a man. Slain in battle. So you severely injured him. While he himself, this is due to him serving in the army of Bulgaria rather than the raiding. That's what that was about. If he dies right now, that means I'm going to become the Duke, and I'll be serving him directly in the Bulgarian court. So it's time to raid. And see if we can get any luck. Because he's raided all the good places. This one hasn't been disturbed, so let's go here. But at least this time we have some good fighters along with us. Just take it safe, alright? Once you get your loot, take it back home. And then come back down there, loot this area, and come back. That's gonna be your tactic from now on. Son of a beeswax. Till March 10th. This isn't happening. No, not again. Get out of here. Gonna get caught. We always get caught. They have way more levies than us. Since we have an agnatic cognatic succession, so your daughter for now is the heir. Keep in mind, Avar names may look totally foreign. Sarah. Fortunately, we have the advantage. We killed one of their champions. Been getting good dice rolls. Incredible fables. Again, still learning Bulgarian. The wise heart then said to the little boy, "Beware, for there's a..." I'm son interrupted. What? The great count is reading children's fables. Have you no pride? This is unacceptable. If your foes find this out, they'll think you're feeble-minded. Maybe my choice for Slavonic literature was a bit underwhelming in the eyes of the court. Oh, god dang it. I might go negative prestige for this, but I'll just say, no! These are venerated Bulgarian classics. That's it. I'll trick her into thinking the fables are classical works. Yep, I tricked her into thinking that these are classical works. Okay, we fend them off. Never mind then. Keep looting. We got them on the run. Ooh, we got a prisoner. I will not accept it as unimportant. But, however, let's see. Wish I would recruit her. She would be kind of useful for me. And if I want to, make her my concubine, even though she'll hate me. And due to high intrigue, that's kind of dangerous. Having her as a concubine, are you nuts? Owned by Chieftain. Okay, while they're on the retreat, this will add up a little more time to go pick up a few more gold, and then we'll get back. So far, so good. Oh god, they're coming back as quickly as possible. But keep in mind, you do get prestige each time you win battles as well. See? But the issue is, he takes less friendly fatal casualties. And their culture is... well, they're not really militaristic. But hopefully we can beat them again. Because we were badly outnumbered by them. And after the battle, we defeated them greatly. And see, too, if we could beat them here again. Because this is plains. This is our territory. Got a bit of a dice roll on me, but they're taking more casualties than us. Now our champions will fight more effectively. Take that, some beeswax. And we'll probably go raid this one here too. Since we'll beat them time and time again, because this is also Plains territory. Anybody here? His Son and Heir, perfect. This is definitely worth something. 50 gold! We hit the jackpot, boys. Actually, take the long way around. It's kind of far off. Actually, no matter where you go, you're going to take casualties. Each time you come across these territories here. No casualties here that you'll be taking, but this belongs to Count of Visegrad. And it's next to a powerful army, so I don't think it's a wise idea. But you know what, let's gamble on it. Didn't see her here. 50. Generous but unimportant. Him being generous is the leech. Okay, finally. You need more prestige gained in order to build more men-at-arms, increasing the size of men-at-arms. So, gathering halls is what's needed. So this will be the longhouse. Longhouses are large enough to accommodate important meetings between elders. Laws and policies are determined here. This will take 5 years. But the construction cost can be lessened. The time, I should say, can be lessened. Yeah, we took some casualties just for being out here, but if they're going to come this way, won't come at us. Even though this is rather tempting fate. most curious discovery recently came to my attention from Salzburg. Scouts serving the local garrison while on routine patrol got lost in their wanderings, discovered a burnt tower in the wilderness. There was little indication of when it was built and when it was last inhabited, but the basic structure is relatively intact. The only thing of note that in that spot were 2 trees by the tower, and a small rotting wooden chest with nothing inside. In a report I received, the local guard camp suggested we could renovate the tower to turn into a watch post to assist with maintaining control over the region. I can't afford it, so I don't think it sounds like we need a watch post here. And I think it should be wise that we should get out of here and take the money. These are all chieftains. And we increased our knight effectiveness as of late. We don't have much as men-at-arms as usual. So if we stay here longer, well, should I or should I not? We can get out of this nonsense and just work your way back to here. So let's just get out of here now and take the money. Once again, we get caught. Seems we're just not fast enough, and we probably take the worst routes. Nevertheless. My father. Oh, God. He was severely injured and maimed. He died from internal injuries. Now you have inherited the Duchy of Visegrad. And I'm the new culture head of the Avars. What have these bastards done to you? What have they done to you? I blame you for this. He doesn't like me very much. Yeah, the feeling's mutual. But fortunately, I do inherit more of his horse archers and some more light footmen and his light horsemen, but obviously that's a bit too much for maintenance, so after this battle we gotta get back home. Champion wounded one of their chieftains and somehow we still prevail. Honestly, let's stay here. 41 days and then we'll have to get the heck out of here. Not to mention I also inherited his wealth. And he was in the process of building sparring grounds. Do build another gathering halls, just for more levies. It's for prestige reasons. So congratulations, you now inherited your father's army. And the High Shaman doesn't like me very much. You were my shaman, so I would prefer you. Because I know you very well. You'll have your jobs back. As it should be. We'll end this episode soon. Just raid and then take the long route so we can get back home. Because they're going to keep beating the heck out of us until we're dust. The settlement of Sopron, an important stronghold in Greater Epica, has fallen to my raiders. We have run the vast tracts of land and made it the quivering subjects and shining treasures of the Chieftain of Visegrad to choose from. The troops stand ready and waiting. My command to give them direction. Oh, just bring me about to this plunder, even though we are already at the limit. Just go, go, go. Bring the money. I think it would be safe to go this way, because, you know. Okay, then disband. So that way no army can get me now. Alright. Now, that's going to be it for this first episode, since it's been going long. And now, and then we'll figure out what the heck are we going to do with men-at-arms if this prestige decreases is too much for us. And that means you are now the direct vassal to Bulgaria, which the king does not like you at all. There'll never be a cultural acceptance between us and the Bulgarians. Because, you know, there's a large disagreement. And the acceptance is only 2%. And many other things. And all that. And Temis was revoked. So again, that's it for the first episode. In the second episode, well, we're going to have to deal with this situation at hand. And at the same time, learn the Bulgarian language. You know the court language, but you don't know the Slavonic language yet. So we hope you enjoyed this first episode of the Avars. It's been a long time coming, and there's still going to be more room for improvement for this character, and as well as the realm to better defend ourselves. I mean, I doubt I'll be Tigris for long, but that's only if we're back to a corner, and I would be forced to convert to likely Orthodoxy. It's their faith, anyhow. And Catholicism is just next door, so distance is not an issue. So we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can to preserve our culture in any way, shape, or form. But until then, so long for now.